I'm Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. Yes, Mr. Trump. We love you. We love you. All the way to the White House.
Beyond betray. They used us. They actually, during the campaign, and I don't want to make this political, but during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that it was not going to touch the documented people.
Now, the thing that I want to ask in this video, one simple question, one very, very simple question, and that is, why did Hispanic Latino men vote for Trump? Why? Why? Especially when Trump said things like this.
On day one of our new administration, we will seal the border, stop the invasion, and send Joe Biden's illegal aliens back home where they belong. We have to get them out. These are killers. These are people at the highest level of killing. They'd cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next morning. A lot of gang members, they take their gangs off the street. Like in Caracas, Venezuela, the criminals have all been brought to the United States. She let our American sons and daughters be raped and murdered at the hands of vicious monsters. She let American communities be conquered. They're conquering your communities. We have to get them the hell out of our country because they've ruined, they're ruining the fabric of our country.
And the thing that I want to leave my Latino brothers with is this one point. We have a common denominator, a common enemy, and it's white supremacy. White supremacy is the common enemy of black people, Arab, Asian, Latino, Indian, and so on.
She has a 14-point lead, but it has been shrinking after each consecutive presidential election from 2016. Right. Why is that? Why is the Democratic share of the Latino vote shrinking?
And what I said to you when we asked the question was, Latinos want to be white. They want to be with the cool kids.
So let me get this straight. If people of color don't vote for Kamala Harris, you call them ignorant, traitors, and Uncle Tom. If Spanish people don't vote for Kamala Harris, you say it's because they want to be white. So these people are not making these decisions based on the fact of what they've seen over the last 4 years. Not based on where they see this country headed. Not based on the cost of living. Not based on the lack of common sense that a woman is a woman and a man is a man. It must be for all these other reasons. But none of it has to do with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's administration. Makes sense.
The Latino vote, what are we seeing among the polls there?
Yeah, what are we seeing? You know, one of the big shifts in 2024 from 2020 was that shift towards Donald Trump, right? Immigration played a key role in that. I want to start off with Latinos on Trump and immigration. You know, back a year ago, what did we see on the issue of immigration? Latino voters trusted Kamala Harris more than Donald Trump, but by just 2 points. 1, 2. Look now at Donald Trump's net approval rating on immigration among Latinos. He is 38 points underwater. That is a 36-point shift, essentially, from where we were a year ago on immigration. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are basically tied on the issue of immigration. And now on the issue of immigration, Latinos despise, hate Donald Trump. 38 points underwater. In their mind, he is doing something absolutely wrong when it comes to immigration.
What about the Latino vote overall?
What about the Latino vote overall? All right, how do Latinos feel about Donald Trump overall? Let's take a look here. This, I think, sort of gives the game away.
Goodness.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I mean, that is the phrase of the day. Trump's net approval rating among Latinos. In early February, again, he was just 2 points underwater. Look at where he is now. Late October, minus 34 points. 34 points underwater, a shift of 32 points over the course of this year. I should point out this is the CBS News YouGov poll, but I was looking at the averager polls. I was looking at our own poll. Very similar shift. 20, 25, 30-point shifts on the net approval rating away from Donald Trump among Latinos overall. Again, whatever Donald Trump is doing in office, in the minds of Latinos, It is not working. They have turned against him in massive, massive numbers.
So recently they did a focus group where they invited several Latinos. All these Latinos voted for Trump, and they stated that they regret their votes for Trump because of the economy and mass deportations, which was Trump. Trump was really transparent on these particular issues. He'd been running on border security for over half a decade. He'd been running on tariffs and who could use which bathroom and who could play in whose sports. So there's no possible way you could really have voters remorse when Trump was completely transparent. I just find it interesting that this study comes out after Trump took funding from this grant for Hispanics and redirected those funds to HBCUs. This is very telling, and they go on and say that if it was a do-over, they still wouldn't vote for Kamala. They'll vote for a third party or stay home. How Mano say it?
Latino voters who supported Trump, what changed? Welcome back to the Freedom Room. Today we are asking a question that is surprising many Americans. What changed for Latino voters who once supported Democrats but chose Donald Trump? Was it the economy, immigration, jobs, public safety, family values, or simply frustration with the political establishment? Every vote has a story behind it, and those stories can reveal something much bigger about American changing political landscape. Watch the following opinions, because after them, we'll come back.
You told me that you voted for President Trump in 2024. Do you regret that decision? ¿Te arrepientes esa decisión?
Yes, 100%.
Why do you regret that decision?
That's because it's nothing that's true. It's not true. He say he go to catch the delincuentes. Criminals, yeah. And right now, he don't follow to criminals. He go to specific to Latino people. The DHS come specific to me and catch to me. Not other people. Because don't care to other people. Specific Latino people.
The price of energy, the price of gas, incidentally, the single largest demographic in America impacted by the price of gas, Latino men 30 and younger. Guess what? That was the most pro-Trump part of the Latino electorate.
When you think about the economic circumstance that is most salient for Hispanic voters, is it employment, availability of jobs? Is it wages? Is it prices in the grocery store? How do you think of it?
Great question again, John. You're good at this. I guess you got to do this for professional as a profession. Look, historically, when we've looked at the economy, 9 times out of 10, pollsters will say it's a jobs issue. That's not what Latinos are saying. What Latinos are saying is, I have a job, but it takes me 3 jobs to be able to afford to live where I'm at. And so it's very much an affordability issue. And it's one of the reasons why Republicans are really missing the boat, is because they still have a 1980s understanding of this job creation. Nobody out there is looking for a job. They have a job. The problem is they need too many jobs in order to pay the rent. So affordability is a real issue. And this is where they really blame Donald Trump for good reason. The price of energy, the price of gas, incidentally, the single largest demographic in America impacted by the price of gas, Latino men 30 and younger. Guess what? That was the most pro-Trump part of the Latino electorate. He's losing those guys for the same reason they came over and bought into it. So, big problems. He's got problems because he's not just hurting his own America First base, but this new coalition that the MAGA folks are trying to build is collapsing for the very same reasons that they made the wrong belief that what they were going to be pursuing and what they were going to be advancing is the exact opposite of what these voters are getting.
The Latino voting bloc is the largest growing MAGA voting bloc in the country. I mean, how do you kind of square those ideas of like these people who are immigrants themselves, or their parents were immigrants, or their grandparents were immigrants, and they know what it was like, and they know...
Well, you know what happened, especially where I'm from in South Texas, MAGA and a lot of Republicans decided to go through the church. So they actually infiltrated churches, and that's how they got a lot of people to change their perspective, because they thought, well, we can get them at church.
And it worked.
It did work.
Yeah.
It did work, because, you know, what is scarier than going against the teachings of God?
Sure.
You know, but anyway, we'll teach you what those teachings of God are in our language.
Sure.
You know, so for me, it's one of those things where people felt spoken to, people feel represented, and I think that, you know, I've always said that, you know, I'm on the left, but, you know, it's like, I love this country.
Sure.
I love this country. I'm a Catholic. I love God. Okay. I love family. I love everything that the...
No, there's no cheers to that. Yeah. We'll welcome a bit with that.
But I also like weed. I like weed.
Okay, you like weed.
But it's like... But it is, I think
the true God.
I know.
So what's the answer? The answer is what, Buddhism?
No, the answer is to actually give more of a chance to people like me to come on, you know, to have these spaces where they can say, you know how you love religion, you know how you love your family, you know how you love this country, I do too. So how do we work together? And, you know, it's that thing where it's like they sometimes need to hear that you love it in order for them to believe it. And so many of us assume that people believe that we love it. That they assume, well, you know we love this country. No, they want you to say it. They want you to say it with some sparklers, wearing a U.S. flag sweater, you know, like, you know, listening to country music at an Applebee's or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we do. We all want the same thing.
Yes.
We just need to be able to allow ourselves to have a difference of opinion at times, but only a difference of opinion that doesn't, that sees me as a human being still. You know, then we can actually have conversation.
The above opinion show that there is no one single reason behind every Latino voter's decision. Some voters say economic concerns influence them, while others focus on immigration, crime, religion, or their perception of the two major parties. At the same time, many Latino Americans continue to disagree strongly with Trump and remain Democratic voters. So perhaps the more important question is not simply why did they vote for Trump? What did they feel the other side was no longer offering them? Do you think economic pressure is changing Latinos' political choices? Or are cultural and immigration issues playing a bigger role? Tell us what you think in the comments. Now let's continue and watch more opinions, and afterward we'll return for one final look at what this political shift could mean.
Hold on, what did you just say about Trump?
I said, Trump's a fucking liar. Inflation's going up. Gas prices hasn't really come down that much. Eggs, that's the funny one. The eggs. I'm mad. And I'm a MAGA man. Okay? I don't see anything he's done.
So is it safe to say that the illusion has faded?
I think it has, yes. You know, I was for him because, you know, everything he said, you know, he played right into my hands. He just told us everything we wanted to hear. That's what he did. I can't even stand to look at him because, you know, he's just he's a con. He's a flat ass, nothing but a fucking con. You know, they all the right side, they say, oh yeah, the Biden side was so bad. Well, what's so good about the right side? He brags about doing something with our economy, but I haven't seen anything happen yet. That big beautiful bill is going to add, they say $2.5 trillion. It's going to add about $4 trillion to the debt. The big beautiful bill. Oh, what a joke. Remember what happened in the 80s with trickle-down economics? Yeah. The filthy rich got richer, and us guys that worked for a living paid more taxes. I'm disappointed, for sure. I'm real disappointed.
Do you guys remember this guy? The indigenous self-hating MAGA Mexican who thinks he's white?
I'm white. I'm not a Mexican. I don't claim to be a Mexican. I'm white. I identify as white. I ain't a Mexican. I'm an American. I was born here.
Well, I did some digging, and the results are going to shock you. Well, not really, but check this out. Like most MAGAs, he regurgitates the same things that we always hear. That immigrants are criminals, that they need to get deported, that they're committing crimes, blah, blah, blah.
Horrendous crimes and charges. That's who y'all went up there and stood up for. Horrible. They come here, they commit crimes, They hurt us, they unalive us, and they try to run back to Mexico, wherever freaking whole country they're from.
Well, for somebody who doesn't like crimes, you sure like committing them. You heard that right. Cristino is a convicted felon. Not only is Cristino breaking into homes, but he's also manufacturing and delivering controlled substances. You know what? It's all starting to make sense now. Cristino thinks he's white. Cristino wants to assimilate because he knows he's one strike away from being deported. It all makes sense now. So remember, felon, Cristino, when you point a finger at somebody.
As a Latino, I've never been more embarrassed and more disappointed in the Latin community for even voting or thinking of voting for Trump. Voting against your own self-interest is counterproductive. It's insane to me. Like, y'all don't make no sense. What's not clicking? And let's be very serious. Latinos voted for Trump because they want to be as close to whiteness as possible. It's because they're anti-black. It's because of the internalized racism. It's because of the pure not even internalized. It's for the outward racism. That's really mainly what it was. And let's not forget the misogyny of it all. Let's not forget that, because one thing a Latina woman is gonna do is gonna put her man, her son, any male figure in the Latin community up on a pedestal with ease. And that's exactly what the Latino men thrive on. The women always putting them up on a pedestal. And that's really the sad part about it, because there is no reason why they should have been voting for Trump at all. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed today, and I'm just so disappointed.
Not proud of it, man enough to say it. I was one of those guys back in 2020, 2024, shit, even 2016, before I could vote. I was all for Trump. I was all for MAGA. I believed he was going to make America great again. I believed he was going to drain the swamp. I thought he was going to be different. He wasn't a career politician. And boy, was I wrong. My views didn't change. They still remain the same. I did fall for the deception, though, because I can't in good conscience support someone who's responsible for a pointless war where thousands of innocent lives are dying every single day. I can't support someone who mocked Christ on Easter. I sure as hell can't support someone who calls the people who want transparency on one of the most heinous and insidious acts in human history, the Epstein files, calls them liars and lunatics. He's probably a part of it himself. Can't support that. When it comes to politics, it's hard to even align myself with one of the parties because they're both being controlled by the same puppeteers at the top. So I was wrong. Not proud of it. Man enough to say it.
We hope you can now see that the Latino votes cannot be reduced to one political label. Some Latinos voters have changed their political preferences because of issues that matter deeply to their families and communities, while others have remained firmly opposed to Trump. But one thing is clear, Latino Americans are an increasingly important part of American political conversation, and their choices can shape elections far beyond many people expect. If you enjoyed this discussion, subscribe to the Freedom Room, like, comment, and share this video. And remember, understanding America means listening to all voices. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching to the end. See you in the next video.